Hey everyone, so today I want to add to my Saturn transiting through the houses in your birth chart with Saturn transit through the second house. So this transit, I think some people get a little more scared about this transit than they need to. It can be difficult for some people. Obviously, it's not like every transit is going to be easy for everyone. And it does have its challenges, definitely. But this one can actually be really beneficial to have because it's restructuring of our values and what's important to us. And this can show up in a lot of different ways. The most obvious way would be in terms of like our finances. But as with every Saturn transit, all of the external changes that are occurring during a Saturn transit are due to the inner work, the inner maturing process that is happening with that Saturn transit. So with this one, we're changing our values and what we want to invest in, what you find worthy of your resources, what you have to offer. So there's like two sides to it, right? Just like with every transit, every placement, every sign, you think about what it is that you do have to offer with this transit. And when you kind of figure that out, then that connects to what am I going to do with what I offer? Where am I going to invest what I have to offer? So typically with this transit, we tend to be working more. And if we're not like working an actual job, we might start one. We might even ask for a raise during this transit because we're just put to work. Because our focus again shifts to what we have to offer, we expect more out of where we're going to put our time and our energy, our resources into. So that's why some people ask for a raise during this time, or some people get a better job. The second house also rules our resources and our stability, our sense of security. So because our values are shifting, our values around those things shift as well. So we're typically thinking about more long-term goals, long-term investments. So some people start planning for retirement or starting a retirement fund, or they start developing new budgeting skills or thinking of ways to maximize their resources and maximize what they already know that they can offer, even if it's not in like a physical material way. What is it that I can offer that can be practically utilized? Some people can see that resources are harder to come by. So like maybe we might lose some of what helps us feel secure, which could be material possessions, or money, income, our actual source of money. Maybe we do lose some of those resources, but that helps us to appreciate what it is that we have, and we start to see the value in things for what they are. This can be a frugal time for some people, and also at the same time, if we do purchase things or make any investments, we usually do it very deliberately, consciously, very thoughtfully. So this is not like an impulsive spending, shopping time. And in fact, if you have some of those habits, that's probably going to be minimized during this transit. And even minimizing in general. Some people, again, because they're thinking of what is actually important, because our values change, purchases that we make are intentional. What we keep, what we surround ourselves with also becomes intentional. So some people might minimize things, finding use in things that are already around you, being more resourceful. So maybe even being a little more thrifty or something like that. We're just more focused on practical things in general, not only how we're going to acquire them in like the most resourceful, practical way, but also how to maintain what we have. So if we have like a savings, if we have like a steady flow of income, how are we going to maintain it? How are we going to budget? How are we going to plan for the future? That kind of thing. There's also another side to this transit where there's a focus on beauty, femininity, and sensuality. So for some people, this can be a sore spot during this transit. So it can feel like it's harder to express sensuality, or it can feel like we're not feeling as beautiful or sensual or graceful. Our femininity can feel a little bit diminished. We can feel like we've shrunk a little bit. So some people can try to have like a makeover for themselves or something like that, and this can show up again in what they buy for themselves. And there can also be a shift in our values surrounding our femininity, our sensuality, our connection to beauty, and what makes us beautiful. Saturn in the first house kind of shifted all of that, right? Like usually with Saturn in the first house, there is changes to the physical appearance. And there's a whole change in our outlook, like our outlook is more mature. We kind of grow up during a Saturn transit through the first house, just like with every Saturn transit. But usually Saturn transits to angles or personal planets, you know, they're pretty major transits. So when it goes into a succedent house, any planet, it's about maintaining what began during the transit of the angular house. So the outlook that we kind of developed and matured into with the first, and how we kind of made all those physical changes to ourselves in the first house when Saturn was transiting the first house. Now Saturn in the second house is about how we maintain it, but we maintain it through a new set of values, a new set of principles. So if we had a lot of physical changes in the first house, now Saturn in the second is about how do you maintain it? Why is it important to you? What are you worth? Are you worth that time, that money, that energy, those resources? Saturn is a physical planet. It's like the materialization of what you put your time and energy and focus on. So with Saturn in the second, all of that time and energy and focus is on the values, the inner principles, the commitments even that you hold. We're figuring out what's the most important to us now at this point in our life when Saturn's in the second. So I hope that this made sense and helped a little bit. And let me know if you've ever had this transit, how it affected you, and what you kind of noticed with it. Hope you like this video, and thanks for watching.